YouTube, and welcome back to Cover the Credits.
This was the second of our double feature.
We're going to double feature phase 2. We saw John Wick 2 as the second showing of our second double feature.
And it was
of our second year of programming.
Oh, in the second month of the year.
Boom!
Now, if only it was the second. No. So
it's the second week of February.
You're correct. Excuse me. This movie was something we both were looking forward to a lot. Am I wrong in saying that you were looking forward to this?
I was definitely looking forward to it.
Yes.
I liked the first one a lot.
I did too. I enjoyed this one a lot.
I don't think it was as good.
Sequels are hard to meet the same level.
This had a lot more plot.
It did. It did have more plot.
And sort of filled out the world more, which I think did it a lot of credit. But it just didn't quite grab me in the same way.
I enjoyed it. It was fun. If you like the first one, you're going to like this one. I will say they definitely play into the idea of a third. And
oh, yeah, there'll definitely be a third.
I'm so hoping that either Lego Batman or this movie will be number one at the box office this weekend and not 50 Shades Darker. If that happens, if John Wick by chance, which is a long shot.
Real long shot.
I'm listen, as long as it's top 3, I'll be happy. I would love it if it came in the number 1 at the box office. But
it's pretty slim pickings.
I can still see, not really, people were looking forward to these 3 movies for a while. And there's a huge crowd for the 50 Shades stuff. Huge crowd. So, we hope and pray that that series may die, but however, John Wick may live on. So the Boogeyman is back and does his thing very well in this movie. Would you at least agree? Would you agree? The action in this movie is awesome.
Oh yeah, it's definitely probably one of the best action movies I've ever seen.
See, one thing that I like with this, go ahead.
This, Smoking Aces, and John Wick 1,
or
and probably Gladiator for good action.
Oh, Gladiator, yeah. I mean, different action though, different kind.
No, it's definitely great action stuff.
See, this is one thing I like about it is the guy that directed this movie has been a stuntman.
Mm-hmm.
And when you watch the way the action's filmed and the way the action is just done, you can see that.
Mm-hmm.
But like, reading interviews and watching interviews with Keanu Reeves, and the director, they had him training in like 3 different martial arts and going out and doing 3-gun training, which if you watch this movie to me was a lot more hand-to-hand.
Mm-hmm.
And the first one, I don't remember that as much. Like judo throws and like transitions on the ground and still, you know what I mean? There was a lot of that.
Mm.
But also when you watch him with a firearm, you can tell it's not that they had him run through firearms testing for a day and put him in the movie. Like he knows how to hold and reload and everything's clean. It doesn't look clunky like sometimes actors can with firearms.
Yeah, it makes it really look like he's a professional killer.
They have video of him running through 3-gun courses, like which are professional courses, and just running through like a pro, like everything. I mean, it's crazy to watch, and most actors aren't going to put that much into it, but he likes this character enough that he does. Everything. I mean, this movie, also no spoilers, takes place right after the first movie.
Mm-hmm.
Within a few days. I think I read somewhere that he said it was supposed to be 5 days, but from the end of the first movie to the beginning of the second movie.
Mm-hmm.
And it takes off and you just go and you hit the ground running, and then for the rest of the movie John Wick is running pretty much. Some of the other characters, Ian McShane is still the head of the Continental. He has an interesting part. And you never really know where he lies in this movie. Would you agree with that? He's kind of...
Yeah, he's.
You can't really read him. Obviously, the Continental comes into play, which I was happy about, and
you get a deeper look into the whole world.
yes, the underworld of the assassins.
And it's really cool. And like I said, they set it up to where there's obviously going to be a third movie.
And I think you'll see what they're talking about with him putting the contract out and everything else. Some cool set pieces. I mean, you're in Rome, you're in New York. That's basically the two. A couple other actors. Ruby Rose plays an interesting assassin in this movie. Silent, which is interesting. Common is pretty good in this movie. Truthfully, I've always kind of liked him as an actor. He was good in Hell on Wheels on TV. He's been in a couple other movies. He was all right in Batman or in Suicide Squad for that few moments. But yeah, I like him as an actor, though. He plays a good assassin, and he's pretty good with the action stuff here too with Keanu Reeves. Interesting. No spoilers again. Interesting fight in a subway car. That was a cool little scene.
Yeah, my favorite part is when they're shooting at each other, like with their silenced pistols across the mall, like and trying to pretend they're not trying to kill each other.
So
silencers aren't that good in real life.
No, everybody would have heard that. Everybody would have heard that.
Silencers aren't that good.
Or the sound of the bullets hitting the wall would have alerted everyone.
Yeah, everyone should have started screaming, but they're like, pew, pew, pew.
Yeah, no. Okay, this is not a spoiler. It's just something that you'll see and love. Yes, I guess it is a spoiler. But at one point in time,
minor spoiler.
Wick is on the level down, and Common is on the next level, and it's open. You can look down. And they're walking in parallel because they've been chasing each other, shooting at each other constantly. They both have silenced pistols, and as they're walking, one is holding it against his chest, aiming down. One is holding it against his chest, aiming up. And they continue to walk, and one will fire twice.
They're walking calmly and like...
Fire.
And then there'll be like pillars going by.
And they'll hit the pillar. And then like he'll fire and hit the wall next to John, and he'll fire. And it is just hilarious because they just continue walking.
It's a hilarious action scene.
I'm about to say Jackie Chan, as a Bruce Lee fan, when they go into the Hall of Mirrors, all I thought was Enter the Dragon. All I thought was like, please, this is good. I don't know why, but it just the weird mirror thing. I was just like, wow, this is just weird deja vu.
Okay, we're getting along. We need to rant.
Listen, I mean, if there's one thing we're going to rant about, it's going to be action movies with a lot of heads exploding.
There's a lot of heads exploding.
There were a lot.
There was a lot of heads exploding.
Still not Kingsman head exploding. Now you know that reference.
Yeah.
We finally got Kevin to watch Kingsman. Not that level of head exploding, but there's still a lot of heads getting popped in this movie. I would rank this movie in an 8. It's an action movie. It's a lot of fun. It's exactly what you want if you're going to go see it. I know you didn't like it as much as the first one.
I don't want to give it an 8 because I give everything an 8.
Well,
I'll give it an 8. Fuck it. Might as well go with my gut.
I mean, you also have to admit, there are going to be movies this year that are not going to make that cut. So
I don't think it wasn't quite there. Like I said, I really like how they went into the background and set it up for a good sequel.
Yes.
And you get more in depth with the characters, you get more in depth with the world, and they did a really great job with that. I just didn't like the plot for this one as much.
Even though there was more plot in this one.
There was more plot in this one than the first one, but that sort of...
It's
balance.
also kind of because the plot in this, and I'm not going to spoil anything when I say this, I'm going to be very careful with it. The plot in this is kind of a red herring. Because what happens, he has two choices, and neither one of them are good.
Yeah.
And because of that, the rest of the movie happens. And so it's like, well, no, we don't want this to go the way it is, but there's no other options because of how that's set up. I want them to go into the story of how he got out the first time, before the first movie. Mm-hmm. They referenced that happening in this movie, and they referenced it happening in the first one.
and kill the entire High Council.
I'm thinking that's it.
And I think he's gonna get a new woman.
Really?
Yeah.
I could see that.
That's my bet.
But I think she'll be an assassin too.
Oh, definitely. I actually thought he was gonna have a thing with the silent chick for a while.
I was wondering.
I thought
about
when
that.
they were in Rome in the hotel, they were gonna sleep together and then try to kill each other.
That would have been funny. That would have been funny.
That's definitely what I thought was gonna happen, but it didn't.
So this is a movie I definitely would recommend to go see in the theater. Cause seeing it with a crowd is cool. People laughing and cheering and stuff and enjoying the movie. But yeah, same as normal. You know, like and subscribe. Follow us on all of our social media. There are links at the end of the video for playlist and the last linked video. In the description below is a link to our Facebook page and our Twitter. Follow us on Instagram at Cover to Credits. I post stuff on them all the time. If there's a movie coming out soon you want us to see other than 50 Shades Darker, by all means, give us a shout on any of the social medias and say, hey, take a look at this. Or if you've seen one of the movies we've recently covered, tell us what you thought. We'd love to hear the feedback. And until next time.
Thanks for staying to the left of the credits.
Oh, yeah.